The Galactic Tribunal Hall was a cathedral of glass and shadow, suspended over the swirling clouds of the core world of Sci-Fi. Delegates from 53 species filled the tiers, their tendrils and claws tapping in quiet anticipation. The charge was historic, the first human to stand trial for planetary crimes against the Council. Captain Daniel Reeves stood alone on the obsidian platform, wrists bound in sleek restraints. Around him, alien judges flicked their frilled brows and pulsed their biolights. To them, he was already guilty. Daniel Reeve of Earth, intoned the presiding judge, a massive Karith whose voice boomed like falling stones. You are found responsible for the unsanctioned colonization and weaponization of Deathworld 47Z. The sentence: termination by the world itself. Do you have a final statement? Daniel raised his eyes, calm and unyielding. Just one, he said. You picked the wrong planet. A low ripple spread through the assembly. Some species lacked the organs to shiver, but the meaning was clear: defiance. The death sentence was no ordinary execution. Deathworld 47Z was a cursed rock of storms, toxic jungles, and creatures that hunted in organized packs. No species had survived more than a day after being exiled there. To die by a death world was to be erased, body and legacy alike. 2 armored guards prodded Daniel forward, leading him to the launch chamber. He didn't resist. He didn't even flinch as the restraints tightened and the pod sealed around him. The tribunal adjourned, their tendrils curling in smug finality. Another reckless human experiment ended, one delegate murmured. But High Archivist Telra, an elder of the SHYR Confederacy, watched the departing pod with unease. Do you not wonder? She asked quietly. Why he smiled. Deathworld 47Z was everything the stories promised. Boiling swamps under crimson clouds, jagged canyons where acidic rains sliced stone, forests where the plants bled when cut. The pod slammed into a clearing with a hiss of superheated gas. Daniel stepped out. The guards orbiting in the tribunal's observation ship expected him to run, to panic, to beg. Instead, he knelt, pressing one hand to the soil. The vines recoiled at his touch. Hello, old friend, he murmured. For the next hours, the tribunal watched from afar as their sentenced prey moved with deliberate precision. He set beacons. He whispered into the storm. He drew patterns in the mud the cameras could not decode. By nightfall, the death world stirred. The first sign came as a tide of scaled beasts, each the size of a hover tank, circling his position but never striking. They moved as though leashed, their eyes glowing faintly. Then the storms shifted, swirling into a vast spiral that shielded his camp from acid rain. Strange roots broke the surface around him, weaving into barricades as if the planet itself chose to protect him. In the tribunal hall, panic began to bloom. This is impossible, hissed the Karith judge. No one survives 47Z. Archivist Telra's frill quivered. He is not surviving. He is commanding. 3 days later, the tribunal received an unauthorized transmission. Daniel appeared on their screens, alive, standing atop a living ridge that pulsed like a heartbeat beneath his boots. You sent me here to die, he said. But you never asked why Earth called this place before you did. Behind him, colossal shapes moved, towering predators and writhing trees, all circling like trained hounds. This isn't a death world, Daniel continued. This is a Terran Forge world. We seed them like this, hostile, untamed, impossible for you. But for us, they're home. The delegates shouted over one another. Some demanded orbital strikes. Others begged to open negotiations. Telra only watched, realization dawning across her ancient features. You used the tribunal, she whispered into the chaos. You wanted them to send you here. Daniel smiled faintly. Of course. Now the galaxy knows what a human calls a prison. The feed cut. By the time the council voted to retrieve him, it was too late. Deathworld 47Z was no longer hostile terrain. It was a fortress. Human ships, drawn by his signal, began landing on the edges of the storm. Outposts rose where bones once lay. Creatures once feared now patrolled its skies. And in the tribunal's record, a single note was appended to his file. Sentence: survived. Status: returned. Verdict: the Deathworld chose him. From that day forward, the galaxy no longer whispered of Deathworlds as cursed places to exile their enemies. They whispered of them as the places where humans were born.